How good were you
Hello,
this time?
huh? Now you're
Nothing.
interrupting me?
Yes.
This
Oh Lord.
motherfucker? All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Wannabes podcast where we're your wannabe filmmakers and we talk about the latest entertainment news and we review a film. And tonight's film is going to be none other than Ryan Coogler's film Sinners starring Michael B. Jordan. But before we get in there, I always like to say, I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and that's Dreaded, and we are your hosts for this evening. So thank you for coming and joining us, and to all you over in Twitch, on Spotify,
The trio is
in
back.
YouTube, it is great to see y'all. And yeah, the trio is back.
I'll make a big deal out of this if you guys don't want to. It's been a minute. I haven't seen your faces in quite some time, especially at the same time. Good to see ya. How's everybody doing?
I'm all right. Just tired from work though, but I'm good.
I fucking
Keeping busy,
feel it.
trying to get a bunch
No,
of stuff made on the back end.
Caffeine might be kicking in, so you two are in for a long night.
Let's go. Let's do this.
This ought to be fun.
All right. Well, before we dive into anything, we got some news to talk about. Specifically, one thing, we're going to limit it to one news piece tonight because we've been dying and waiting to talk about this, and that is none other than the official release and look at Predator Badlands. What did you guys think about it?
This one looks cool. I have a lot of faith in it, seeing that it's the same director as Prey, and we all know that. I think Prey was honestly a pretty big highlight for as a 2022 film, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's nice to see that they learned their lesson because Prey absolutely should have been in the theaters and they decided to put it on Hulu instead. I mean, my wallet thanks you, but God, that is a great movie that should have been in the theaters.
100% agree.
Nothing was funnier than, not funnier. Nothing was funner than waiting till 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. just for that movie to be released and me watching it on Discord with my boys.
That's awesome. I am a little disappointed though that this isn't a follow-up to that because it has an ending that would make you think there was going to be a follow-up. We're not getting that. We're getting something totally different. I don't know if I've ever been the biggest Ellie Fanning fan. I can't believe how they pulled that off. So I'm curious to see if I'm going to like her in this movie. And we had briefly mentioned that we don't really know what to think of the design of the Predator. We go ahead and run with that for a minute.
Yeah. For one, this is definitely, I would say, the weirdest Predator I've seen.
It's different.
Seems like Dan is very interested in making different designs for Predators. I mean, you still look at him, you say, "Oh, it's a Predator," but I don't know, something about.
He honestly seems smaller, like just in dimensions. Not necessarily like build wise, but even like the build of like his face structure seems much more narrow and compact compared to other ones we've seen.
That too. I think it's also something in the eyes and even like the skin texture. Just something about his face is like it's interesting. I don't know.
I have a theory that it's just going to end up just being more human, and that's the whole thing because we are well into the future with this entry, I believe. So
maybe it's a hybrid,
right? And I don't know how to feel about that. The coolest thing about the Predator is the alien look.
Yes.
They nailed it in the 80s. Prey has a great design. Yeah, this even the CGI on this one seems like a little bit of a step down. I'm gonna chalk that up to it actually doing like some stuff instead of just being like a big brute. This one is very small. It seems small, seems more lethal, has a dope ass sword.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where this goes, but like right off rip, the only thing that I have to say would be I don't know how I feel about Ellie Fanning, and I don't know how I feel about this design.
I feel the design will honestly probably grow on me if I'm being real. Maybe it's a little jarring for the first time seeing it because there's a couple of times where we have said, "Hey, the design kind of looked a little iffy," but then eventually we're just like, "Oh, it's fine." There are different tribes of Yautja. Yeah, that's true.
I like Prey's design right off rip. I never had an issue with design of Prey, and I can't remember, but I may have gone out of my way to avoid it until the movie came out. But I feel like I might have seen something. Either way, I had no issue or no thoughts of like, I'm going to get a bad design. I just felt that that's just something that you have to nail. So felt good about how the Predator was going to look going into that. This one, kind of the same mindset. I feel like you have to nail it. I'm just not sure that they have. I'm going to try and be optimistic with you and let it breathe for a minute and go into the
Yeah.
movie. But right now, it's just very jarring. It's just so different.
I
I'm
will say
very
too that his
curious. Sorry, go
I was gonna say that I think maybe part of the reason it's a little funny is because his locks are in a ponytail. Something that we
Maybe.
actually have never seen a predator have, so that's interesting as well.
He's vocal,
Morgan.
you know.
It's-
Yeah.
No, but I think what why sorry, I like fucked up how I was trying to even say that, but I'm very curious too. Like, is he going to be from a tribe that we're already aware of, or are we going to get like a new tribe? Like, is there like since it is so much further into the future, are we going to have the chance of there being more in new tribes that we weren't ever aware of, or that are now newly made? That would be an interesting thing to kind of play with, especially if it's like a hybrid route that they're going with down the road. Maybe half youth, human, half not. So who knows?
Saying this
going
100% because I just want to kind of be that guy right now. Yeah, there are multiple tribes, right? But I
Yes.
still don't think that gives you an excuse to have, I'm not going to say a bad design, but an iffy design. You know what I
No, and
mean?
that's
Even
fair.
if it's a different tribe, your predator, I feel like should look pretty badass, like off rip. So
also,
I
I hope he
wanted,
has a mask as well.
yeah. Well, I saw we saw a mask at one point in the trailer, so I'm
Yeah, maybe
curious
they're
to
just
see
coming
when
with
that
a.
comes into play because maybe that's their one scene of like here's my face, and then the rest of it's just going to be with the mask on. Who knows?
what did we notice? Did we pick out all the skulls? I saw the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. There's a human skull. Is there an alien? Is there a xenomorph in there? I couldn't
No,
pick out a xenomorph.
I have that up right now, and I don't see a xenomorph.
Damn, I'm
I
looking for
see it.
the Easter egg.
I'm looking. I think I see like an ape skull, maybe question mark. I don't know. But going off of the whole tribe thing, I actually think this has to be a. I mean, I know it's supposed to be in the future, but this has to be a different tribe, considering what we've seen the jungle hunters to look like,
Yeah.
what
That's
we've
what I was
seen in
thinking.
AVP, what we've seen in Predators with like the big berserker predators and everything like that, and then of course we had the feral predator as well, where Dan himself had said like he pictures this predator being from a more desert climate than the jungle hunters that we've seen before. So I think this might be some kind of either future tribe or something we haven't seen before. Who knows?
I'm on board. I'm
Hmm.
100% on board. I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. I just, like we said,
Hmm.
it's pretty jarring. It's definitely different. Um, yeah, but the sword's gonna make up for it regardless.
Probably. What's this? What's that big thing he's about to fight too? That came running up to him in the fog.
Oh, the thing that can't be killed, supposedly.
Perhaps maybe that
Can't
thing
wait.
looks like something out of Monster Hunter. If I'm being real.
I want to know what some of these skulls are though, because there are some skulls here that are definitely not human or like
Well,
from Earth,
I
which
think
makes
this is looking
sense.
to paint the
But
character in a different light too. You know what I mean? It's not he's already not necessarily a bad guy. It's just doing what he does, kind of deal.
yeah,
Perhaps so. I mean, I remember the line in Predators where Lawrence Fishburne's character, they've hunted shit you wouldn't believe. So,
Yeah, this is gonna be a little taste of that. Also, are we on Earth or is this somewhere else? What are we thinking?
hold on a sec. Let me look into this real
I'm
quick.
thinking it's somewhere else.
It's somewhere else. It's on a future in the future on some remote planet, not Earth though.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
probably another colony. It probably ends up being a colony planet from what we've
I can see
Maybe
it.
seen.
so.
All
Um.
right,
Oh yeah, that's definitely because I'm replaying it just to refresh myself. Definitely not Earth. So
cool.
certain scenes of it definitely give me like Prometheus vibes.
When's it come out?
It
November
comes
7th.
out. uh, Got a little while, but I think it's gonna be working. It's gonna be good. This does look good.
Also, one last point I'll make is we said it before. It's a great time for the Predator. Like with the
Yes.
the anthology movie that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot wait to see that. I feel like every idea that they have in there should have been its own movie.
Predator, Killer of Killers. Yeah, that's a pretty good
Damn.
one too.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. This looks amazing too. November, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, early
Yeah.
November.
All right.
I think it was the 7th I
Fantastic.
read.
So let's go.
So yeah, that's the only thing we really wanted to get out on news. We didn't initially weren't even gonna talk about news until I was just scrolling YouTube. Like,
I didn't
oh shit,
realize
there's a
that it was
trailer.
out. That I didn't
Yeah,
realize
neither
that
did
they had
I.
a
I
trailer in
forgot.
it. It was like
I
what
knew.
18 hours ago, if that. I think it
Yeah,
was today.
I knew
Yeah,
it around fucking 7 o'clock no, not 7 o'clock, like 9 o'clock this morning. And I
damn,
just
that
put up
early.
watching it, forgot all about it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not I'm not trying to like wrap myself out here, but I do spend a lot of time on my phone at work. So
I unfortunately can't always, so I would have not been able to catch that.
yeah,
I
no, I
was
got that. I
I
got
was
that
inside Google
notification.
Drive all day and
Right, I
kind
Mm.
got
of
that notification. I saw it. I was like, "Well, I can't watch it now. I'm busy. I'll watch it when I get home." Got home, did other things, and just completely forgot about it until you
yeah.
reminded me. It's a good call.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that one. Good year
I,
for the Predator. The year of the Predator. Wait, that sounds so weird, but still.
whatever.
I think it'll be a good time though.
I do
I'm
too.
excited to see it.
Regardless, yeah, I'm sure I'll like the movie.
Absolutely.
All right. And that concludes our talk on Predator Badlands.
Yeah.
And
So
schmooze.
with that, everybody, we are going to go on a very short break. We will be back in 3 minutes. And as soon as we return, we are going to officially be deep diving into our thoughts and our reviews and eventually our ratings for the 2025 film Sinners. So stay tuned, hang in there, grab your popcorn if you haven't already, and we'll be back shortly.
It's appropriate.
Meet Sarah. Now, Sarah was supposedly a very naughty bride. The story goes, one night she left her house to meet her lover. And her husband followed her into the woods behind their house. And when he saw the two of them embrace, he was filled with rage. And he killed Sarah. See, there's one little problem, though. That grave is empty and has been for hundreds of years. The town made the whole story up and staged that grave.
For what?
This is the plot of land that she's actually buried. She was burned at the stake for witchcraft. For hundreds of years, the townspeople knew that's where she was. Your house.
Crawl Space is in production now. Help support the indie filmmakers in properly completing this feature length film by sharing the word or, if you're able, donating to its crowdfunder. Your help ensures that this film gets completed in the way it deserves. Learn more, donate, and support us by visiting our crowdfunder page today. All right, everybody. And with that, it is time for our movie review. Once again, we are reviewing the 2025 Ryan Coogler film Sinners. It is starring Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, Miles Canton, Jack Daniel, and the list goes on. But it was written and directed by Ryan Coogler, produced by Ryan Coogler and his wife Zinzi Coogler, as well as Zeph Ohanian. But real quick, if anybody isn't aware, this came out on April 18th. And yeah, the plot is in 1932, identical twins and World War I veterans Smoke and Stack return to the Mississippi Delta after years spent working, well, in the mafia over in Chicago. So, using stolen money from gangsters, they purchase a sawmill from a really racist landowner and create a juke joint for the local black community. And their cousin Sammy, an aspiring guitarist, joins them despite opposition from his pastor father, who warns that blues music is supernatural. And, well, you get the supernatural in this one because, warning, there are vampires. But before we dive into our
Kinda.
thoughts and everything, let's go ahead and talk about budget and how it did in box office. So the budget for this film is 90 to 100 million dollars, and if we look at our box office in the United States and Canada, Sinners was projected to gross 30 to 40 million from 3,308 theaters in its opening weekend. The film made 19.2 million on its first day, which includes an estimated 4.7 million dollars from Thursday night previews. It went on to debut to 48 million, topping projections to finish first at the box office, upsetting Warner Bros. Own holdover, a Minecraft movie, but oh well, they can take a backseat. It's fine.
Fuck
But
the chicken jockey.
as of as of Monday, April 21st, Sinners actually has grossed officially 55.8 million in the United States and Canada and another 15.5 million in other territories for a current worldwide total of 79.9 million dollars. So there is some interesting stuff with like some publications actually claiming the film needs to gross 170 to 185 million to break even when factoring in the 9 million production budget. But yeah, we'll see what happens and how it's going to go. I know that Coogler does have premium video on demand streaming deals with Prime and Netflix, so I wouldn't be too surprised if one of these ends up if this ends up over on one of those, if not both.
I'm sure it will.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I don't have an issue with the box office. I think it's already been pretty successful. I saw the same thing too. There was that Variety headline or some shit that caused a bit of a stir for a second. I know when I went yesterday, the place was packed. So I imagine it's still gonna have some packed weekends, some packed days, and I'm sure it'll get its budget back. I think this movie is too good not to.
Yeah.
Real
So
quick,
that's
before we
that's
continue, while I was reading all this, Tyler said that they sent over $50 for crawl space. So thank you, thank you. You are amazing. We love you.
oh,
You beat
thanks,
me by
Tyler.
one. You beat me by 1 second. I was going to call that out actually too.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
buddy.
both of you helping me out because thanks, Tyler. I appreciate you very much, man. Thank you. Anybody else want to follow his example? That'd be phenomenal. Please and thank you.
Thanks, bud. All
We
right.
got good things coming for you, Tyler. We got good things coming for you when we finish.
Hell yeah. All
I
right.
will say, I also just
Go ahead.
I also had a pretty packed theater as well. That made it so
I
much
did
more
too.
fun.
We
Oops.
My theater, okay, because I think I came back from getting my water during break, right when you guys were saying like you had like a funny theater. My theater was hilarious. We were laughing.
Yeah.
We were having a good time. I have to say, I'm gonna start here now. Like, I really appreciate the humor that is in this film. I think it needs it. I
Mm.
think without it, it would play a little too beat by beat. Okay, we've done this. Now let's move on to this, and then let's move on to this. I do like the humor, and I my theater had a great time with it, and then because of that, I had a great time with my theater.
Oh yeah. I was surprised. I literally ran into an old coworker from Kroger. Actually, I was like, he looked at me like, "What are you doing here?" Like, what the fuck is you doing here? Somebody I used to kind of fight with though. And
Watch this fucking movie. It's
like you said, Luke, I have full confidence that this movie's going to make its money back. But I
Absolutely.
still just want to throw this out there. I'm calling upon the black folk. Y'all motherfuckers better get to the theater and see this. I don't know why the black folks specifically, but I will say, I think literally everybody in my theater was black. Literally everybody.
I will say mine was a very good mixture of different like backgrounds and like ethnicities for sure.
Mine was too. I mean, come on, given the subject matter and who's in it, like, I think that is something that is
Mm.
expected when it comes to the box office. But I think that just might be something with like a slow roll. You know what I mean? I think this is going to be a movie that catches on a little bit more. Maybe the marketing and everything might be a little bit confusing. I'll
They
get into we'll get more into the thoughts of the actual movie as a whole in a
Yeah.
minute, but like,
I
I
have
think
thoughts
there's
on
a
the
couple.
marketing as well.
I think there's a
Same.
couple things that might just be holding it back slightly, but I think it'll overcome. And at the very least, I think it'll break even.
I think word of mouth will help it, considering how much praise. Because I have not heard, I've heard from a couple different sources saying how good Sinners were, and they both literally said I would see it again a second time.
Honestly, like my husband was kind of like I said, well, I think the guys want to watch Sinners potentially, and he's like, ah. And then like he heard from a couple friends at work that hey, this movie was really good. Was able to catch it over the weekend, and Dan was like, well, I'm hearing a lot of good things. Let's go see it. So it was one of those things where I remember when the trailer first came out for it, I was curious in it, but then it kind of like just went away. I didn't really hear anything more about it. I think it was very soft marketing. And what they did show didn't really make it, in my opinion, and I'm remembering it back from when the trailers first launched. It didn't, though there was evil supernatural bits. I never felt like it was that very, very honed in, and not a lot of people understood what type of evil we were going to be facing in this film. Um, I mean, if we like look at the simple here, let me pull it up real quick on Google. Um, like the very simple synopsis for this film is literally here, pulling it up, making it big so I can read it. Literally it says trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their Mississippi hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Tyler, you were way off.
personally, um I don't think that is literally the generic synopsis you can find anywhere and everywhere that the film, like Ryan Coogler and his team, has put out, and I think that doesn't do the film justice.
I mean, it's not wrong. It's
It's
not
not
wrong. It
wrong.
is an accurate description of what happens, but obviously there's a little more going on. I am going to I mean, I'm not by any means going to shit on this movie, but I am probably the most disappointed here, it seems like.
Mm.
And a lot of that does have to do with the fact that the marketing was kind of all over the place initially. And then even the fact, and I'll get into it more later because I know we're going to talk about the acting and shit. Oh wait, but even the fact that it was revealed to be vampires is still, going into the movie knowing it was vampires, is still a bit disappointing. I'll get into why when we get there, but yeah, I think everything, my experience and what's happening with the movie right now, I think it all does add up, and we're probably
Mhm.
spot on with that marketing. But like, how do you market this movie? We can get more into it when we get there, but I think that this is a hard sell until you actually watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a lot with the marketing that really pulls people into this to be like, hell yeah, I got to go see that. Which is why I agree with you, Dreaded. I think this film's gonna do better and is going to make its money more from word of mouth.
Yeah, I remember when the first trailer dropped, I thought I had some interest because Ryan Coogler
Same.
and Michael B. Jordan is a good duo and everything, but I just didn't really know much. I think the very first trailer, or maybe it was the second one, I can't remember. One of the trailers was the only one I saw, but never online. I only saw it when I went to the movies to see something else, actually. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And it wasn't until maybe a couple of reviews came out, and then my boy, the last weekend had told me about the movie. He's like, oh yeah, I remember that movie. It's that Michael B. Jordan movie. And it's like, yeah, marketing wise, I guess I feel the reason they marketed it the way they did, because I feel like some of the aspects of the movie, they definitely wanted people to be like genuinely kind of surprised on what they saw. And
I
like, I
definitely
guess I
was.
was, because
Yeah.
like there's a few scenes in this movie that I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that he did that wasn't really marketed that well, because watching it was almost a little surreal in my opinion for me. So, but maybe they also had confidence that they had something good on their hands. Like, you know what? Let people come see it, and then people gonna say like, y'all gotta go see this movie. Like, maybe this is one of the moments like, oh, we know we cooked. Just let them come.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would go with Cook, but like I just think it's once you
Mm.
experience it, I think you do have to watch it to understand it. It's gonna be
I
hard for me
agree
to
with that.
explain. But
Yes.
like that base synopsis of what you read, Morgan, I mean, yeah, it is spot on. I guess that's just the most bare bones way you can explain what
But
this
I
movie
feel like
is
that's the
to
problem is
generate some
that it's
interest.
almost too bare bones.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I agree.
I
I
don't
do
wanna I
agree.
don't want my synopsis to spoil anything crazy, but, like, if you're going in not knowing much, like, this coulda just been a period piece about racism, which there was a
I,
lot of that
Mhm.
in there, and that was a very heavy message.
I
But
think
some
it's
people may
just
not realize that, oh, the other evil is also supernatural.
no, I think without giving anything away, I feel like that's why it is the way that it is. Once you start to expand on it a little bit, you might just be giving away too much. Even a little bit is too much in this movie because, like, you
Mhm.
do have to. It's surreal at times. It's horrific at times. It's heartfelt at times. It's emotional at times. You know what I mean? Like, all that is in here. Um, but we need to talk about some of the performances so that way I can actually start talking about that shit because I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
also
let's
have a
move into
couple
that.
I have some issues with also that I wanna make sure that I'm bringing this up now so we can circle back to it. I have some
Mhm.
issues with actually some of the editing and the choices that were made for scenes being where.
I do not.
Mhm.
Well, but I can't wait to get into it because I do not. I love me a
But
long
Okay.
I
shot.
just wanna I'm
Oh
just
my
mentioning
god.
that so we can circle back to it after we talk about the
All right.
cast.
Go ahead.
Okay. So let's start, of course, with the homie Michael B. Jordan playing a dual role in this movie, which
He
I didn't even know going into this.
I didn't.
you could tell he's never done it before. He was a little stiff at times. I think
Oh,
he could have done worse. He could have done worse being in a dual role, but there are moments where I was like, "Okay, Jordan." Like, you
no, you
I don't know, like, there's moments where he rolls really well with himself, and then there's moments where you can kinda tell that, hey, this was him having to switch between his positions. The takes were a little different. Some of the takes had slightly different feels. They were close, but sometimes there was a bit of a miss for me with Jordan being acting for him with himself.
I
mm,
don't think there was enough in his performances to differentiate between the two at times. Like, especially when shit starts to go down, they kind of start to feel the same. You know,
I do
you
agree
kind
with
of
you.
lose who their dialect is very close. The way that they act is very close. The biggest differences between the two is like their color scheme, but there's
Yeah, they
definitely
did the
points.
color scheme so they can stand out, and I think more of their like decision making. But then we also don't see really Stack make a bunch of decisions where he really stands out all the time. There's a couple of
I
them where you're like, that's okay, Stack, like
Well,
sure.
I don't have a problem with it. I still think he does a very good job. It's
Yeah,
just there are a couple moments, and for me, it was particularly when like shit is going down. Where I was like, which one are you again? Who's who?
you know,
Uh,
funny enough, I actually didn't have that problem because I'm not sure exactly when your idea of when shit goes down versus mine. But I mean, of course, there's an obvious moment where some shit goes down. Where you're like, okay, you definitely know who's who at this moment.
mhm.
But funny enough, I think I didn't have that problem. I was always able to tell who was who. Actually, I think it was just kind of the little stuff. Maybe because that growing up, I had some best friends who were twins, so at some point, you just pick out the small things, I guess, and you're like,
sure,
okay, I
sure.
got it.
I want to say
Because
I didn't struggle with that too much either, like telling them apart or like them standing out on their own. I think my biggest issue with Jordan is like there were times where he felt a little too rigid. It's almost like kind of like relax, dude. Your body's already stiff enough as is because just the way you're built. Like just chill, take a breath. I don't know. There's a couple times where it's not all the time. Like when he's getting a little more jokey, a little bit like how he interacts with Sammy, their cousin.
hmm
Like there's moments that I absolutely love that dynamic, and then there's other times where I feel like he gets really stiff and rigid. But part of me is like, is that just at fault because of like the previous roles he's acted, which are very more. I've seen him in a lot of military style positions, or where
hmm
he's very much the serious, or he's the bad guy.
He still is
Like
military style in this.
Well, yeah,
and
that's
he's
true.
still
They
and
were
that's fair. He
soldiers.
still is. They are ex-military. So, you know, there's a bit of that question, you know. They're ex-military, ex-mafia. So, I'd like to see him expand himself beyond a character, a cast of characters where he can be so comfortably rigid. Because sometimes I feel like he gets too rigid for me.
Mm.
I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have very many issues with it, but there were a couple where I was like, I think I just lost track of who you are, dude. It only
And
happened a couple times. He's fine.
I
He's
think
actually very great in the movie. I like him a lot as both these characters, but it's just like when they get together, I get a little confused. But he definitely does enough for both Smoke and Stack for them to feel like their own characters, and then there's something in the ending that I'll wait for. But overall, I think he did. I think he did a great job. It's
maybe
probably just me, but
maybe the issue could also be the fact that Smoke and Stack are more similar than other dual roles that we've seen lately. Like, let's go to Jim Carrey playing two Robotniks actually, but one being young, goofier, and the one being old, and so it's a bit more easier to like differentiate. Or even what's that sexy man's name? Moon Knight, Oscar Isaac playing both Stephen Grant and Mark Spector with completely different dialects and everything like that and mannerisms. So maybe that's the case.
And Legend, dude.
I haven't seen that though. I haven't seen that one.
Put that on your list. But yeah, no, it's the same deal. And you know what? You're probably right, because in all of those instances, when they play the other person, it's like the other person. These guys, like, they're different people, but I think because they're so close and everything they've gone through, they kind of act very similar.
Yeah, it's like one of them. I mean, maybe it's I think it's just like it's the case with the identical twins who genuinely are. Because a lot of these other roles, they're not identical twins. They're like two completely different people just in the same body or whatever, or the same role.
Oh, Legend.
But this is genuine. Yeah, this one is a genuine, no, we are twins. And I'm going to be real with you, like, knowing some twins in my day, like, there are going to be twins who kind of do have a lot of the same mannerisms and stuff. So maybe it was an active choice. But
like I said, it doesn't take anything away from his performances overall, because I love both the characters. I think it's just when he's on the screen with himself, that's when I'm like, you guys kind of seem like the same person. But again, probably just me.
I will ask you guys this: which twin was your favorite?
Stack had more personality.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stack is the naturally between the two, the more casual, the more like easy. I think a little bit more easygoing. Where Smoke naturally, because he was the protector, he's a little bit more curt, a little less. He's more serious, if you will. So I would lean towards Stack for his personality, but I guess maybe Smoke for his resolve.
No, I'm taking Smoke because the weight that he carries a lot more weight than Stack does, it seems, and he's got
that is true.
A little bit more personally invested.
No.
By the time the movie ends, I could say that Stack, I guess, feels the same with the responsibility and the weight. But throughout the movie, it's like it's Smoke's movie.
You ain't wrong.
I don't disagree with that.
I was definitely more of a Smoke person too. Stack, I like Stack too. I like he was more lighthearted. He was funnier. Some of the shit he was saying, like we said, this movie was funny. But I also like that Smoke also was funny, but in a different way. Particularly that part at the truck, because oh man, that is one of the scenes that gets the biggest laugh out of me.
That was good. So part of the reason I say Stack is Stack was as we learned, his character was the more heavily abused between the two of them from their father. And I've from having like friends and like family and stuff that have been through abuse, I recognize the hiding and the coping mechanism of humor. And so like I think there was a lot of layers and a lot of weight with Stack that sadly wasn't as portrayed as heavily as I wish they were.
See,
I think there could have been a little bit more weight with Stack.
I don't like the runtime, but I'll get more into that later. So we'll circle back, please.
Okay.
Deal. But all in all, Michael B. Jordan does a great job in both of these roles, actually playing someone who's a bit more serious, but still has some kind of humor. Not like necessarily being jokey, but kind of like that kind of like natural funny in a way. It's kind of like Ice Cube. Smoke reminds me of Ice Cube. I wouldn't say Ice Cube exactly is like a funny dude like someone like Kevin Hart or something like that, but sometimes some of the shit he says or does will come off funny just because.
It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anybody seen Miles Canton in anything else besides this?
I'm looking him up real quick.
I haven't. I want to watch more of his stuff. He's really good in this, considering the people that are in it that he goes up with. Like my man holds his own. I'm curious. I'm sure he does actually know how to play the guitar. But
I ain't gonna lie. This guy's more of a musician than an actor.
Okay, well that makes sense.
He's
He was
actually
great.
he's been on some TV series, but literally as himself as musical guest. This is his actorial debut.
He was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and he is great. He is a great character in this movie.
Yep. No notes for me.
He's
That's it. He's really
he's one of
good.
my favorites. Like literally, um, that man's voice is so
Hmm.
fucking good. Like he has such a depth and a richness for his age. So good. I really enjoyed the tone shifts that we get with Sammy's character from being like this fun, like young, obviously like more young, more a little more naive, a little more green, like kid, if you will, compare especially compared to his cousins. But
Hmm.
him also like trying to like step into his shoes of being a man, stepping into his own shoes of trying to become his own person. I really liked um the I guess the development of his character and the different sides of him we got to see. Because I think it makes him really relatable for anybody who is younger who's trying to find themselves and what they want to do with their life.
Yeah, that's a very relatable storyline to go with him. I also like his little romance he has with what's her face, her name
Okay.
Perlene, who's also Bella Real from the Batman. I didn't know that. But also I just want to say this, getting out of the way, this movie was dirty. This movie was dirty, and I kind of loved it for it too.
Go through more performances. God, I have so much to say, but I don't want to veer off track. We'll be here all night. Go ahead.
I know, but still,
I have
I
so
kind of
much
had
to say.
I had fun with it too, with that humor, the dirty humor. I got good
yeah.
chuckles, not gonna lie.
Oh man, dude, my audience, we was going crazy, like, oh my god.
I think the best thing about the humor that we saw I think the cast did a really good job of working that humor in a way that didn't feel always super forced. I felt like it
I
kind of felt like they were riffing with one another, and I appreciate that.
that is yeah. Nothing felt forced. It all felt natural. It all felt natural to their character and who they are and how they interact with one another.
Yeah.
Like I even made a joke saying
A
like I
couple
call that
comments
just
that were
like
said, I was like, "Yeah, I'd totally say some of that shit to my friends to
yeah.
fuck with them," you know? Like,
Like what fucking Stack says to Cornbread and his wife. Speaking of which, Cornbread, I knew it. I knew that was the dude from 8 Mile. I knew it. I kept looking at him like, ain't that big dude from 8 Mile?
Yo, he's been in a bunch of shit, man.
I'm
I,
being
I'm
real.
I was happy to see him. It's one of those faces where it's like, oh, that's awesome. You're still you're still working. That's sweet. Like, and
Yeah, I was happy to
he's
see that
good,
too.
and he's been good. He's been doing it since he was a kid, I think. But like, he's been good in everything that you see him in. Man plays the cousin in Transformers.
Oh
his
my
first
god, he
his
was.
his first ever job was like acting gig was 1999 for the Bald Witch Project.
Yeah, man has been around for a while, and he's always playing these fucking side characters, and he knocks them out of the park every time. It's like, dude's gonna work forever. It's great.
Yeah,
Also, I
I
wanna
like him
I
a
wanna
lot.
talk about like so I would say Smoke is my actual favorite character of the movie, but my low-key favorite character was Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo.
Oh
That
my
man
god, he's
was
so
the best.
fucking
He,
funny.
he was so goddamn funny.
He
Delroy
was the
played
humor
the
we needed
fuck.
for this film for
Yes,
sure.
he played the
So
fuck out of that role.
when they have the scene where they're eating the garlic and like
Mhm.
he does his thing, I was like, that's so fucking funny. But at the same time, what is it, Pearline? I was the whole time I was watching, I was like, I don't even think she really ate it. Nobody says anything, and then they kind of move on. It goes the way it goes. But right then and there, I thought that was going to end up turning into something else. But Delroy Lindo, that's probably the
He's so
funniest scene for
fucking.
me.
Literally,
He's
him
so
doing
fucking
that shit,
funny.
I was like, this. As soon as he started like doing stuff, I'm like, this motherfucker, he's just fucking with them right now. Like I thought he was just trying to pull their leg, and I don't know. I
It then
loved
turns
his
out
character. Low key, one
so
of the
fucking
best
funny.
characters.
I think
That
either
was
way, like that scene could have played out the other way, and he could end up being a vampire, and I think it still would have been fucking hilarious.
I
yeah.
agreed. That's fair.
I want to
God,
throw
he's
a big
funny.
shout out to how do you say this name? Wunmi
Woo.
Mosaku, who plays
Yes,
Annie. Oh, she's also
I
Hunter B-15 from the
I know her from
Loki
Loki. Yeah,
stuff. I
I
didn't know
love
that
this
because
actress.
she
She's
was
so good.
great. Yes, like
I
that. Oh
love
man,
the tone, and because she shares her weight with Smoke. I love
Yeah.
the tone and the weight behind her character. She is also our information character but I think they had a nice way of establishing why she would be the character who has the kind of information of whom these supernatural beings are. I don't feel like it's too forced with her character because of the disposition we got with her leading up
Mhm.
to the grand opening of their juke bar. So I really liked it. Initially, like before I knew that vampires were a thing, I thought we were gonna go to like more of the boondock, like Louisiana, style, like voodoo and everything else, because there's a lot of really interesting mythos of like the Louisiana realm that we don't get to see a lot in films. Which there's a big video game that just came out that's about that kind of stuff, and that's where I thought this was going before I learned it was vampires.
There you go. I was gonna say last two characters. I think no, not last two. There's a couple more, of course. But Lee Jun Lee as Grace, and then Yao as Bo were actually some fun characters too.
I liked him a
Grace goes
lot.
out like a champ.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
You said one more time.
That's all I'm gonna say. She goes out like a champ.
Yeah, she does.
She does, but my God, like I get why she did what she did, but my whole theater was like, all like, no, oh, come. I was like, bro, no.
Hours away.
I get it, but I don't like it either. Like, God damn it.
You guys let me know when you're ready, because that's genuinely how I feel about this movie as a whole.
Oh, real? Okay. I think the last characters, I think we really... No, wait, we did not even talk about Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, or fucking Remrick. So
yeah, because I was gonna say Remrick, the trio for last, but
Okay.
I want to move on to Haley Steinfeld because I deadass forgot she was in this actually too. I deadass until I saw her talk. I was like, oh, that's Haley. Oh my God. And
I loved her.
yeah, she's great in this movie. She really is. Her relationship with Stack is definitely the most interesting. This is the most interesting that I was invested in when it came to relationships.
I
Because
love this role for her because it is so different from like what we've seen her for. Like obviously we've seen her in Pitch Perfect. We see her in Spider-Man Across the Universe as Gwen. We see her obviously in I'm literally looking at the list and I went from oldest to newest, okay? Stop.
no,
And
I'm
we've
just
also
across the universe.
it's not.
Oh,
I
the
wasn't gonna say
Spider-Verse.
anything.
I
I
sorry.
wasn't gonna say
I don't know why I
anything.
said
I
across
think
the
we
universe.
looked at each other
I'm
and we
so
were like,
bad.
we're just gonna let it go.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's literally what I thought. Like, I'm just like,
I'm just trying to share a thought. God
doing
damn.
good. You're doing so good. We didn't want to interrupt.
Never mind.
Anyway,
Okay, so I'm upset because I had an idea of what her character was going to be, and I kind of got that, but her first half, I think, didn't lead or do any justice to the second half. And then by the time the
that is
movie,
fair.
and
I
then by
agree.
the time the movie ends, it's all kind of meaningless, in my opinion. However, she is very good in this role. It is an interesting character. It's just in the context, and this is going to be my big thing as we get a little deeper in this. As like a horror film, I guess, her character was just kind of like, eh.
you're not wrong, and I'll get in. Yeah, you're not wrong there. Honestly, I think the one thing I do kind of like about it in
I
the
don't
end
really
is how.
classify this as a horror film to me.
Well, and that's
If I wanna
that's what
get
I'm
picky.
going to get there. I'm going to get
Yeah,
there.
we'll get there. But for what it's worth, Haley does great. Some of the, I mean, I'm so used to Haley in certain roles. Some of the lines she says, I'm like, Haley. So another moment of being funny, dirty, and Shamik, are you okay?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Who that sweats with the glasses is the Sir dude, but like that's how I felt when Haley Steinfeld was on screen.
Mm-hmm. And then I get the glass characters we definitely got to talk about is the trio of our evil actually.
Yes.
Because I say
Jack O'Connell, the leader of them, is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he is the best out of all of them. Yeah, definitely.
The Native Americans tried to save us. They
tried.
tried.
I want to get to that. That's a problem I have.
They fucking tried, dude. They tried so hard, and we're like, all right, well, you're on your own now.
Yeah. Jack O'Connell, yes, did great in his role. He danced the fuck out of that Irish jig.
Dude,
He
his
did
intro when
phenomenal.
he first
I
shows up and
mean-
he's on fire, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" That was sick. It was a cool intro to a villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a nice way to see it for sure. But the one thing I want to say about like Jack O'Connell specifically is I don't know how far. I know you probably have not gotten far, Dread. I don't think you were ever a big Game of Thrones fan. But have you
No,
ever gotten really into Game of Thrones, Luke?
not the new one.
That's House of
Is that
Dragon.
what he's from?
No, he's not from either of them. I'm just asking,
Oh,
how far did you get into Game of Thrones? Did you ever meet Ramsay?
all of the first 7 seasons, yes.
So you met Ramsay. He gave
Correct.
me such major Ramsay vibes, but as like a slightly cooler vampire guy instead of being he's a little less sadistic than Ramsay, but I really liked that vibe I got from him. That kind of like really good with his words, really able to help manipulate you. I
Mhm.
really liked how they had this character scripted and the way he portrayed how they had him scripted.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you because that to me is a fucking vampire. That is what they're supposed to be. That's old school Dracula. I mean,
Yes.
he's dirtier because he's in the American South. But other than that, he's still
Mhm.
very charming. He's fucking ruthless. They're old school. They got to get invited into places and shit. Like, I dug the vampires.
I ain't gonna lie, the shit he said to Grace in that movie was like, wow,
Oh, he cuts
Jesus.
deep.
Yeah, that was like, wow.
You always know you got a good villain when the villain is right. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
not at
man
all.
was spot on
Absolutely.
with everybody.
Like, again, I have to go back to Grace, what she did. Like, I get it. I still don't like it, but man, he was not helping. He was so not helping. But yeah, Jack O'Connell does a great job in this role. And Luke, you said you really fucked with the vampires in this movie. Like, I did too. This is a weird one for me. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way. It felt odd that they were here in a way. Because typically when you got like a supernatural movie or something like that, there's a bit more setup to it.
There wasn't
isn't
a lot
here.
of
There's-
disposition
it's
at
just
all.
here.
No, hold on, because I love this part about this movie. The fact that they use the supernatural elements of blues music, and like that's the whole thing. And they even I forget who says it, but
You can't miss
it's
that opening
it's during-
that opening part of the
Yeah.
film though,
Yeah,
where it
and it's
explains how
during-
music works but spiritually.
it's
That's
during
so
the
important.
narration when all that shit's going on, where they're like, yeah, it brings us in contact with the ancestors, future, past, present, future, but it also attracts evil. And I was like, that's literally why they're here, because they heard the fucking music. I don't need anything more. Makes sense. It worked.
See,
I
what I
guess
didn't want though, because we're talking about this is where I'm talking a little bit on the filmmaking and how they
Go for it.
decided to cut things where they fucking cut them. I would love to have removed that opening scene is also one of the ending scenes of Sammy returning to the church. And you could have gave me that, but not give me the flashes of the vampires and what they looked like. And I did not want that. That should never have been there. Save
fair.
all of that shit until I get the vampires. Like
You
I don't know why. Like now I was like, okay, now I know he's gonna live. Great. I know, and now I know I'm walking into it these freaking vampires now. Like I wanted all of that to be left for when they just showed up. I think their appearance would have been even more. They would have been more enticing, but also more terrifying, without giving me a heads up of what they were like before.
I don't think you're wrong, but I actually did kind of like the brief flashes forward because I think where I am at is that I was so into the movie and the characters that I dead ass forgot. I dead ass forgot this was supposed to be a horror movie. The setup was so good for being like more of a period piece dramedy. I forgot this was supposed to be horror until they showed up at that house actually. But go back, rewind. What was I about to say? I was worried for a sec because, like, okay, we know Sammy was gonna make it out of this and stuff like that. But I guess it still works out. Wait, what about everybody else? Because we grow to care about everybody else too. So now you're like, wait, what about those guys? Like, what's gonna happen here with everybody else, honestly, too? But going back to what I talked about, like just how they kind of show Yeah, the opening narration does establish how music works and how they can attract these spirits and everything like that. But I don't know, something was just off. I think I wanted a tad bit more, not explanation, just more establishment that hey, these things can happen in this world that we're setting up here. Because like again, with the setup being so funny and with its drama and stuff like that, it feels like two genres mashing, and it didn't fully work. Even if I still like both the genres though. So that was my issue with the vampires actually. It's just establish more that this is a thing that's in this world. Honestly, that's what I think I wanted.
I am with you, but the opposite. So I didn't forget that it was supposed to be. I supposed to be a horror
Same.
movie.
Same.
I was aware the whole time, and I'm just waiting. I was just waiting for something to happen. So
That's where I was.
we're getting this really really well done, like historical piece, dramatic piece, and then there's that scene where Remrick creates the trio. And it's like, okay, all right, right, horror movie. Okay, we're back. And then it jumps, back to being the fucking historical piece. And it's really good. And I'm invested. And then you get the fucking fever dream scene, which is looking back on it now, because I definitely got lost into it because I was just like, I was like, I forget that this is a horror film. And then, the vampires show up. But looking back on it, there's so fucking much going on in there. I don't need that much going on. Like, I appreciate that they did the thing with the past, present, and future, but I don't think I needed to actually see it. And I definitely didn't need that narration going on in there, because you already at the beginning of the movie told me what was going on. So I already know what's happening. You don't have to tell me again. And then I got all of that swirled and going in, and then it just drops back into a horror movie. And I'm like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, right. There's fucking vampires. Luckily, because it got beaten into my head, I was like, oh, yeah, the music attracted them. So I get why they're here. But it felt unearned because it focused more on this instead of this. Not that that's a bad thing, but like, you told me it was a vampire movie. There's like no vampires. They're sweet when they're there, but they're really not there.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually loved that fever dream part. That was like the moment I like really got like, whoa, okay, actually. I think you're right you're right about the narration part, but I actually did like seeing visually different time periods all in one spot. Not even just for like black folk, even for Asian folk as well too. Actually, with that one little moment with Grace and her husband, but
it's almost like a musical history piece. Honestly, like I dug it too, but then I was like, I get past, present, and future, but given like that it's the 30s, could they even imagine what a dude playing guitar in the 80s would look like? Like, can we imagine hip hop at this point? I don't. It just in that respect, I was like, there's again just too much going on.
I don't think it was necessarily the characters themselves imagining what the future could be like. I think it's literally what the narration said, how music can unite the past, present, and future.
It's
like it cracked it open type.
Yeah, it's a moment where
it's
they're
like the
all
different
in the street.
threads of the universe from past, present, future was pulled together and like vortexing in this one area. And I really liked the fever dream area.
It's probably just got everything to. I'm sorry. I'm probably just got everything to do with the fact that it just all is happening all at the same time, and I'm like,
it was fast too. Not gonna lie, like there was a lot happening all at once right there. I really like the fever dream. I do think there could have been a little bit of like you could have pulled back on the intensity of it a little bit for us to really try to take it in and really let it seep into us even more. But like I don't hate what we got either. I do find it really interesting.
I loved it a lot because it also goes into like reasons why I just love music and how music can elevate films, not just OST, totally just fair. Like actual like quote unquote maybe copyrighted music and stuff like that and everything like all that. Very so fair. I was a big fan of how intense it was actually, and I just like looking at what other eras can I find because I don't know, I got the biggest smile when I saw the big ass white tees. I'm like, that's my childhood right there. That is my childhood. And then, like, that's not even the only, in my opinion, amazing musical moment because when the trio are dancing with their vampire army to, what's the genre? Oh, wait, I'm drawing a blank on the genre right now.
Oh, the Irish jig.
Yes, that was another scene. I was like, this is just phenomenal, actually. I love this so much.
No, yeah, there's a lot of representation in this movie. It's all really good and it's done really well. But
what is so beautiful is the main representation. Like, though obviously we do have the white folk, I love that they're so removed until they are needed to be there. because
Mhm.
we get a lot of look of like the different cultures of like the different immigrants as well. Irish was a massive immigration to the US. But then we had the Asians, they were here because of gold digging. Like seeing all, and then obviously the very strong beautiful black presence we have in this film. Like I love seeing those different little segments because they all had their own different forms of oppression from the American white folk. And it was very
Mhm.
interesting to see that. And I think is what helps I think drive what well, oh shit, what is his name? What's the main vampire dude's name again?
Rennick
Remick.
or something like that.
I think that's what helps drive his message home is the fact that we're seeing all of these people who face discrimination, whether for skin color or simply because of their accent and
Mhm.
their more typically orange hair, if you will, right? I think it was very interesting to I because I think seeing who we saw the most of helped try to be like in a way you're like, yeah, I mean, vampires got a point.
Oh, I
It's a
love
bit
me an Irish
sadistic and
vampire.
crazy, but like
Mhm.
I really like there is such strong and beautiful messaging that is kind of like haunting for the world we're currently in. Um, I really love the messaging in this film.
Well,
It go ahead, go ahead,
I
go ahead.
it just yeah, I agree. I agree. But I think this movie is still about 20 minutes too long.
I will give you that there are some points that I feel could have been trimmed down or maybe out because I don't think they were truly needed. Like there's a story that Slim or Delroy Lindo tells that like this doesn't really matter to the grander scheme of things. But that's why it's always feels so jarring to think like, okay, we've got like a good period piece and then we got a horror movie. And I know I seem like Ryan wants to do really good justice on both, but some of the aspects aren't needed in some of the genres actually as well.
Nori's 3 endings.
True.
So my problem is with like kind of getting into the endings a little bit. So like we have a mid credit and we have a post credit scene as well.
Post? Wait, there was a post?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah. It's actually like mid-credit.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. It's at the very. There is another one at the very end of the
Is
film.
there?
Yes, there is.
Oh
I
shit.
saved
You
the.
can
I
spoil that because I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see.
So
enough of that.
the very at the end of all of the credits rolling, we see Sammy again with the guitar,
Hmm.
and he is just singing "This Little Light of Mine" inside his father's church. And like I did a little bit of reading onto why it was even in there, and partially because it was a beautiful part. Like he was singing it beautifully. Part of me was almost like this was cut from the film for timing or whatever. But they're like, I really like this, so let's have this be like this little light of mine is my voice, and let's continue like telling you he's gonna go continue on his dream and become a musician. But like, I think that should have been the mid credit, and then the actual mid credit was our post credit scene because I already knew he went on to go do it from what the mid credit scene was.
Mm.
So like, I don't know, like that post credit scene was not necessary. Was it a very
There's
nice
Okay.
like 5
piece?
endings.
Yeah, so was it very nice? Yeah, he was doing a beautiful version of this little light of mine, but was also kind of pointless. And I think if I was editing it, I would have edited the beats and where that came up differently. Or maybe have that be the opening scene instead of me seeing flashes of vampires I don't want to see yet.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Because he didn't have the cut across his face in
Hmm.
the post credit. So that's
Yeah,
why I
but
also think it was like filmed it different. That was maybe filmed, cut, but they're like, we really want this in here because this is a strong scene.
those are really the only issues that I have with this is the runtime. It's a little too long. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of what they did with the Mary character, but I think I was just looking for a different type of historical piece than I think.
Hmm.
And then the fact that I think they really were going out of their way to not tell us that there are vampires in the movie, just to set some kind of expectations. This is what I think now, having seen the movie, because once I found out that there were vampires in this, I got way more excited and
I
really wanted to see this for the vampires. And they are
honestly
awesome. They're awesome. I love the effects that they do on them, the practical effects too, when people are getting lit up. Like um, they are some of the scariest vampires I've seen in quite some time scary looking.
mhm.
Hmm.
And what they do to fuck, you just said his name. Who's the dude that's in all the movies?
Oh, you're talking about Cornbread, the guy who plays Cornbread?
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
His makeup was the best when him
Oh,
after he gets shot.
absolutely.
He looked amazing. But they're just so sparse in the vampires and how they use them that this really isn't a movie about vampires at all. It's a whole different movie that has vampires in it. So
To
I'm not going to
me
call this a horror movie. Like there's horror in it,
to
but
me,
it's
this is
not
a
a horror
period
movie.
drama that happens to have supernatural horror.
I did shit. I
Yeah.
called it a musical.
Yeah, that too.
I
And
mean,
I-
a period drama can be a musical. Just saying.
And I definitely could make an argument that this could be categorized as a musical as well as a historical piece, but vampire horror movie, it is not. And that's not a bad thing. They're good with what they do with them, but just for me, like that's what I was watching this for, and I didn't really get that.
I'm gonna be honest with you because I had this conversation with Dan on the way home. I think they kept the vampire stuff as much under wraps as possible or less in the forefront because I think the main mission with this movie was the messaging, not the supernatural story. And I'm
That's fine.
not saying that's a bad thing, but I
Neither am I.
do think that's why marketing was done the way it was. They didn't
No, I
want to
agree.
have it be in people's face that, oh, you're
I
gonna
I
get
agree.
vampires because they wanted to hopefully have a broader audience go and
Yeah.
actually watch this.
That's what I said. That's what I'm thinking too. But like
Mhm.
you told me there are vampires in it. And not only that, but by the time we get past the one ending into the second ending, it kind of almost makes the vampires unnecessary. Why did I need vampires in this? It could have just been the brothers and the clan, and we could have had the same story. We could have done the same thing, beat for beat, damn near, and it could have been the clan the whole time. I'm not going to actually talk about what that ending was, but like that shit came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, so are we actually going to deal with this now? Fuck, we actually are, and we're still here. It's another ending.
There is a lot. It seems like a lot of a lot of concepts and stuff all kind of fell into one movie, and it did kind of make it feel, I don't want to say fully unfocused, but a bit much in ways.
Disjointed.
Yeah, a little disjointed.
Though I did really, really enjoy this film. Sometimes there was too many loose plot points that by the end they felt like they needed to wrap up.
Yeah, maybe so.
And they did wrap them up, but like that's why I went, holy fuck, it's another ending.
Hey, I gotta rewind.
There's one you guys didn't even know about.
Yeah, no shit.
Hey, I gotta rewind because this is something I alluded to that I had a problem with that didn't get resolved.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did the Native Americans go? Why didn't you guys show back up? What the hell?
So, my personal assumption with that is they just didn't know how to, like, my assumption is because they knew who they were dealing with. They're like, sun's going down. Let's get back. Let's get to safety, right? So it'll get basically somewhere you have to invite them into. And, so like, I guess I'm not surprised that they were gone, but because the entire film lasted one entire night. If we had got maybe an additional days and we had the day and night cycles, I think we would have gotten more of like the Indians actually coming and trying to hunt him and find him and rectify this being around. Which I think is also a cool vibe to like the like a whole Wendigo and SW situations. I'm not saying the full name because
Thank you.
people's superstitions. If you want to know, at me later, and I will maybe message it to you so you're aware, and then you can stay safe. Yes, exactly.
There you go.
That. I think that was a very fun, cool. Maybe that I just read into that because of all the supernatural shit I love and thing, but I think that's why we didn't see them again is because of their supernatural superstitions. They were aware of what they are, and we never got a additional day-night cycles.
All right, I'm going to help Morgan out a little bit because we're pretty much step in step with this. Everything Morgan said, except I think it's because they are also Native American. They can't just be roaming the land. They have to probably stay close to their area, the reservation. So I'm assuming that Remick infiltrated the fucking reservation first, and then they're chasing his ass out, trying to kill him. That's when he ends up at the other two's doorstep. And then where Morgan was going, they probably need a day or two to actually get back on the trail. And like, I would watch that movie because even though you two don't read comics, there's a fantastic story of comic storyline called Two Moons about a Native American Northern soldier.
It's really good.
Thank you.
It's really
good. Did
good.
you actually read it? Did you actually read it?
I read half of them.
Okay. So
have
yeah,
the
Morgan
other
gets
half
it. So
to
like that going into like if they want to spin off something and do something too Moonsy-esque, that'd be fucking sweet because yeah, as soon as they showed up, I was like, please let them do something. Please let them do something. And they didn't. And I'm like, fuck. But yeah, that's some sweet setup right there. But yeah, just Morgan and I are pretty much lockstep right there why we
Yeah.
think they don't show up.
Maybe I'm also low key mad that they didn't show because we could have helped certain people that I wanted to be helped.
Sure.
But
So
I thought to myself,
by the time this movie ends, because I got shades of The Thing with the garlic scene, and then by the time shit goes down and like they start fighting, I was like, this is just dust from dusk till dawn. But that's not a bad thing. I fucking love that movie. So what with like all the blood and the fucking the way people are dying and shit, that's what that reminded me of. And especially with the cast of characters and shit being locked in the building, like it felt very reminiscent of that. And I like that. That was sweet. It was cool to see that.
oh, bro. Also, going into the one of those particular endings when they end where Smoke ends up dealing with the clan. I mean, I know it's a lot of endings, but I was really happy to watch that.
Like that's how okay. I was going, my God, we're still here, but it ended up being a cool scene. So like at the end of the day, I'm good with it, and that's pretty much my whole opinion of this movie. There's shit that goes on where I'm like, what? I don't understand why you did that, or why? What was the point of even telling me? Like I said, vampires don't need to be in here, but they are, and it's cool. So at the end of the day, I'm okay with it. Did I think they handled it particularly well? No, because you got this really awesome historical piece that you're fucking telling me. I'm really invested in that. Like, stick with the clan. Like, I don't fucking need the vampires. But yeah, every time they did something that I went, why? I was like, all right, you redeemed yourself because it was fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, like, I wanted a vampire movie, and it's not really what I got.
I think at the beginning I was expecting a straight up horror movie and ended up getting more of the period piece, which I'm still not mad at.
Same.
But
I thought we were gonna get to the horror sooner than we did, but I did love the period drama we got.
Yeah.
Well, that's what bums me out about it though, because it ends up feeling so long. Like we could have just cut a couple things out, maybe more horror, and we still get from point A to point B, but there's not so much setup. There's a lot of fucking setup.
Yeah.
No,
maybe they wanted to do a whole lot of setup because they really maybe wanted you to care about these characters. And
Well,
it worked, I guess, because I care.
There are a lot of characters, and I do get to spend a lot of time with all of them and get to know them at least enough that by the time something happens to them, I go, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. I will say they do it. They do a very good job of setting these characters up for you to either like or hate them, or
Yes.
eventually hate them at first and then end up liking them. Like I think the way they crafted these characters and the screen time we get with them is great, but there's also comes then for the opposite side of, well, all this time means a longer film.
Right,
Mhm.
and we're
I
trying to
never
tell
really
too
got
many stories.
uncomfy with the runtime, but there are times where I did feel disjointed though. I will agree
I
with
definitely
that.
did. But
Yeah,
by the time Smoke was doing his thing at the end, I was like, all right, I'm ready for you to wrap this up. Because I feel like everybody's had the ending that they needed, but then we had to get another one. And then according to you, we had to get another one. So like, all right, I'm ready to go now.
all right. But at the end of the day, I don't know.
We can score it. You want to score it now?
I think we can score it.
Sure.
I'm going
Fred, do you
last.
want to start off with us?
You say me?
Yeah, if you want to.
If I'm being real,
You wanna go last?
No, I can go real quick.
Okay, go.
Because despite, I do have some issues with the movie, and now this feels like Long Legs where we talked about it, and I kind of noticed a bit more cracks. However, this isn't going to be like Long Legs because this is still staying a high-ass rating. This is, to me, is going to get a... Ooh, wait a minute. Somehow 9 feels too high, but 8.5 still feels too low.
Wow. on both numbers. Wow, you're all right. I can't wait to go.
So, you know what? I'm going to be real. It's like, despite the disjointedness, the what they do right, they do so right that it has me like hooked. Like, I still left the theater just feeling like so many mixed emotions. Like, it was funny. I'm sad how that ended. No, wait, I have some hope for everything like that. I'm like, some characters got their justice and stuff like that. I had a lot of mixed emotions, but I think in a good way. So, you know what? And I'm gonna be real with you. I think Sinners might be a I'm spoiler ahead for the end of the year reviews and stuff like that. This might be a top 5 movie for me actually, because regardless of everything, I really, really fucked with this movie in so many ways. So I'll be the guy. I'll say this movie is a 9. I'm giving it a 9. I really liked it, and I would most definitely love to watch it again. Some of the moments. Oh wait, I forgot to bring this up in the movie and the review actually. But some of the music moments, low key, reminded me of why I like Happy Feet so much. I know that's a weird comparison, but it's true. I was like, this reminds me of why I like Happy Feet so much. Like the power of that music and some of these scenes just hit so different. So I'm giving this a 9. I really love this movie despite its problems. But I feel like
Sure.
there are problems. I'm like, you know what? There are problems, but they still do. I mean, they still do it right. They still do it right in areas. That's what best I can say.
Nice.
Did I scare Luke off?
I don't know. I don't know if he's disappointed or something happened.
I really
But
don't care at this point.
yeah, I mean, I'm good to say mine because I know he wants to go last.
Go for it.
Don't know if he wants to be present for my numbers though, but I do agree with you. This is still a pretty high rated film for me. Currently, for all the films I've seen this year, this film is currently my second highest rated film for the year thus far. Um, but I'm personally like I'm a 7.75. I really liked this film. Um, I really had a good time with it. I really and that might be in part because of the theater I had. We had a really good time. There's a couple moments like when there's a door, there's a slight hole in the door, and people shouldn't be creeping. But I really
Uh-huh.
I liked the people I was in the theater with because
Yeah, same.
there's some people who said some shit that definitely we were all thinking. Like,
Yeah, same.
I had a very good theater experience with this, which probably really helped influence a bit of my rating because I love really good theater experiences. Um, so yeah, I'm currently sitting at a 7.75 for my rating. I had a very good time with this. Is there issues? Yes. But I definitely don't think I minded this film as much as Luke did.
Yeah, I'm definitely the lowest rated. I was gonna go 6.5, but I'm gonna go with a 7 because, as discussed here, the things that they get right, they do get right. The problems that I have with it do stick with me, particularly the vampires because they are so cool, but I only get them for like 5 minutes. Um, and then I get another ending that, like I said, makes me go, "Why were they even
At
here?"
I will say though, like at least the times that we get with the vampires are actually good.
Yeah, they're
Could
very
you
good.
imagine if they
Mhm.
were trash?
No,
Oof.
That would have
I
been
would
so
still have
disappointing.
I would have the same issues that I have right now. I would just be more bitchy about it because I still would have had this
Fair,
fantastic
fair.
fucking historical piece. I'd be like, why did you put shitty vampires in here? It's so stupid. Um, no, but the vampires are good. They're just not in there as much. And I genuinely wanted a really, really badass Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler vampire movie. Instead, I got this really emotional, like well thought out historical drama pick that just kind of shoehorned some vampires in there, which bummed me out because Remrick is awesome and he's speaking the truth and like he doesn't really get to do anything. So that's a bummer. And then he gets kind of thrown to the side for the actual villain, it felt like, which was gonna end up being the clan. And I was like, all right, well, then just have it be about the fucking clan. But everybody in the movie is amazing. It's very well made. I love me some long shots. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are my favorite people working today, I think. I'll watch anything that they do, especially together. And like, yeah, this is still a good movie. It's just,
Mhm.
if you go in expecting one thing, you're probably gonna be a little disappointed, and I was.
Hmm,
So 7.
fair enough.
All right, well, y'all heard it here. And with that, everybody, we are the Wannabes podcast. I'm Morgan, that's Luke, and that's Shredded. And we would like to thank you so much for joining us today for our movie review of the 2025 film Sinners. So, with that being said,
Shout out to Tyler for giving me some money. Thank you, Tyler.
thank you,
Yeah.
Tyler. You the best. You the best, man. With that being said, thank you to our Twitch and YouTube chats. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you to our listeners over on Spotify. And hey, if you're not like following us on all of our stuff, you should go do that because it helps support us. Like the live video on YouTube if you can, because that just helps us grow and helps us in the algorithm and helps us eventually get emotes for that chat over there because that'll be really fun to get. But yeah, y'all, thank you. We appreciate you. I want to remind you that hey, today, right now, April 23rd is National Movie Theater Day, so go support your local movie theaters if you can. It'll be
But
fabulous.
don't do that chicken jockey shit. All right, don't do that.
Yeah,
That's
don't
so
do that.
disrespectful.
Don't do that.
Don't be those stupid kids.
Don't do that.
But sing the lava chicken song at least. Do that much at least.
Listen, like be like a good movie theater experience. Don't ruin other people's experiences. Only enhance them. Chicken jockey doesn't enhance it. Just like chill. But
And
anyway,
also, I understand that you two were once movie theater workers, so I can't imagine how irritating that's got to be to clean that up.
yeah.
We can.
Yep. I literally will see people in the theaters when I go, and they like don't take their cups with them, and I'm just like, but why?
Get
Take it
your
with you,
ass.
asshole.
Because that's what we were getting paid to do. Clean up after him. It is what it is.
What I couldn't stand was the chewing tobacco cups.
Hey, as
were
long
the
as you don't
worst.
miss.
They
As
were
long as you don't miss. I don't care.
That's nasty.
Those fuckers that miss, those are the ones I want to fight. But we're on to bigger and better
Anyway,
things. So for those of you that do work in the
it's
movie theater,
National Movie Theater Day, so keep your theaters clean, be nice to the crew workers, and go support theaters. That way they don't close. But with
What she
that,
said.
y'all, go support Crawl Space if you haven't already, because Luke's stuff is coming in production soon. We're just waiting for the weather to get nicer. Because continuity is important.
Continuity is very fucking important. Holy shit.
Yes. All right, guys. With that, we're gonna love you, leave you. We'll see you next time. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and LinkedIn because we're over there now. And yeah, we're also on YouTube and Twitch and Spotify. So thank you everybody for your love and support. We'll catch you next time. But hey, don't forget the popcorn.
If you
See
forget the popcorn,
everybody.
I'm sending an iris vampire after you.
I'm not complaining.
That'll make really good points.
Yeah.
And he'll kill that iris jig.
Don't debate.